Hi, you're listening to Bold Works, the space where women connect, share stories, laugh, and tell the messy truth about careers. We are here to figure out how to survive the chaos of work without pretending it's all fine. Spoiler, it's not, but together it works. Hi, welcome to Bold Works. Today's episode is going to be about community. At the beginning, I wanted to discuss a bit more about how to uh, create more community between women, but then I thought, okay, let's start from the beginning. What is community? How do we create community? How do we maintain community? um, for that, I invited Eva. Eva works at Docker. She is the one in charge of Docker's community, so she is quite an expert on the topic. Before we jump into the conversation with Eva, let me share with you what I found around community online. And again, this is episode, it's going to be the foundation for the next one, which is going to be also about community, together with a bit more of a brainstorming, but going back to the theory. So let me just share with you like a few concepts and notes. One, sense of community. So the sense of community, it's built by four different components: membership, influence, fulfillment of needs, and shared emotional connection. Now, when it comes to communities at work should have a purpose, relationship, and a practical value. How do we know a community is alive? A community has rituals and platforms. In this case, it's relevant to know that there needs to be a safety environment for members to share. This is called interpersonal risk. Now, healthy communities also balance weak ties and strong ties. Weak ties when it comes to spreading ideas, strong ties is to create and build trust. Sorry, community. A community is a living organism, so we need to understand the life cycle of a community in order to know how to support the community. And last but not least, communities at work should be supported by the leadership. That's also like quite relevant, in order for people not to think it's an extra piece of work. Now, let's ask Eva a few questions around community. And I am really excited because I know that after this conversation, I will be able to use this as a better input to make both works a better community and hopefully a successful one. I invite you to follow me online, Spotify and YouTube, and let's check it out with Eva. Thank you so much. Hi, Eva. Welcome. Welcome to Bold Works. Thank you so much for your time, and for being here with me today.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
I was going to ask you because, of course, we started our conversation in Spanish, and for me, sometimes it's a bit weird whenever I have to talk English with someone that I know I can speak with this person in Spanish. Do you have the same feeling?
I have the same feeling. In fact, my husband is German. And when we were first meeting each other, we would speak in English. And then later, when I learned German better. It was so weird for me to do the switch to to German, and I was
Wow.
speaking Spanish, and again it was weird to do the
I,
switch.
so, and do you guys have like any specifics when it comes to communicating in any of the three different languages that you speak in between?
So right now we are at our Mexican era. So we both speak in Spanish most of the time, except when we are talking about tech,
Okay.
especially. We communicate in English.
Oh
And
wow.
then when we need a secret language, we communicate in German.
Oh wow. Oh, now we know. I love that.
Yeah.
Eva, let me ask you. Could you describe yourself in two words for all of us?
Oh, that's hard. I would say maybe um bold. I hope. I hope I can say bold. I mean, it's on brand, right? Bold works.
It's amazing. I love it. I love it.
um, and what can I say? Empathetic. I would say that.
Oh, I love it. It's like both are like, one is super huge, the other one it's like so soft and nice. It's really nice combination. Eva, what do you do? Where are you? Because of course you already told us some like hints here and there, like German, Mexican, Spanish. Where are you? What do you do?
Yes. So my official title is Community Relations Manager. I work at Docker remotely. And right now I'm in Turkey. I'm just coming off from an offsite that we had a couple of weeks ago. And my life is being a digital nomad. So next time you ask me, I'm going to be in a completely different country,
That's
continent,
amazing.
maybe. Yeah.
Now I have many more questions about that, but let me ask you because, like, the reason, of course, you know why I invited you. I was trying to figure out, okay, how the concepts of community work, women, and then I thought, okay, let me go a few steps back. Let's understand each other in the basic definition of community, and for me, everything goes around. How can we create community? Can community be created? Is something that we do? Um, and how can we keep it alive and in a healthy way? um Maybe you can start sharing with us what's your story with community, how it started.
Yeah. So I have a tech background. I started as a software developer. I studied that. I worked many years as a software developer. And part of being a software developer is, especially in the golden era of tech, there are many events. So many events about learning and meeting each other, networking. And I think tech is a special case because when I think of my friends in different fields, there might be a conference here and there, but I think tech is very special. There's a lot of community, a lot of people wanting to learn from each other.
Yeah.
And compared to other fields, I feel like tech people usually like to share or usually like to help each other. Of course, there's exceptions, like everywhere, but in general, I feel like it's a very welcoming community. So yeah, I started going to events. Then I applied for a community role within my company,
Oh wow.
and I got it. Surprisingly, I was the only person who without experience in community,
Oh wow.
but I had some stuff in my on my side. So first of all, I was part of that same network, so I knew um, what a regular member of that community was feeling, so I could empathize with them a lot.
Okay.
And the second thing is that I was a data scientist right before joining as a community manager. So my managers were really happy that I could look at things in a very analytical way, in a very, mm, I don't know, like in the end, as with every job, you have to show your value. And the data storytelling was helping me a lot with that. So um, after that, just my career, I got better at and better at figuring out what to do. I was very lost in the beginning, but always did it with confidence. Always, try to try to fake it till I made it. And in the end, it all worked out. Now I'm working at Docker.
But like there are so many things for me about like your story, but one of them is um you you don't need to have a lot of experience in order to make community, maybe, right? Like what I'm getting here, it's like willingness is a really big piece of this.
I agree. I agree. So there's not a career. There's not in university. There's no bachelor in
Of
community,
course.
right? So everybody who is doing community studied something
Of
different.
course.
So they just so yes, in a sense, you don't have to have a formal studies to do this, But also, on the other hand, there's plenty of companies trying to build a community
Yeah.
with they have money, they have resources, they have everything, and they don't manage to build communities. So it's a matter of, I would say, luck is very important, but also a bit of common sense and a lot of empathy.
Wow. So, like there for me, I really love to recap and like kind of like between unfolding and making a translation for everyone, because there are like so many possibilities in terms of interpretation of what you just said, which is um there are people around trying to create community, but it's kind of an art, right? Like it's not easy, it's not something, and it's not a specific recipe. So you have to
Yeah,
figure out, because at the end community, it's the members, we are humans, and there's the complexity behind it. So you need to learn what is your community about, and this means that there's like a shared level of understanding and knowledge of why are we here together.
yeah,
So one is this level of connection and empathy that you're making reference to. It's because we are all humans, and we just need to figure out, when it comes to community, how to create community with this specific set of humans in this specific moment in time, which is also the luck that you mentioned.
correct.
Wow. um have you ever, because you started at Docker?
No,
No.
I started in another company doing community. The name of the company is TopTal.
Oh, and there you were creating, were you creating community, were you maintaining community?
Yeah, good question. So at TopTal, the community was different because every community, there was one community per city. So I had the opportunity to both create and maintain. So it was very scattered communities here and there. And yeah, both. And then at Docker, I am maintaining a community. The community was there when I joined. Yeah.
And if I try to understand a bit more about community and the creation, which I would say would be the starting point of it, how do you how do you know that it's alive? How, when do you feel that it's like, ah, okay, it's gonna, it's worth, I don't know. How do you know?
That's such a good question. I think that's where common sense comes in. You go in and observe, and I would say there are some signs of a healthy community. One of them, or one of the most important ones, I would say, is it's not centralized to one person.
Okay. Ooh.
So for many communities, if the leader, if the person driving it leaves, then the
Yeah.
community is
Yeah.
dead. Yeah, yeah. I think as much as this person could be very valuable, it's not a good sign because it means that this person hasn't given protagonism to other people.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's of course it doesn't mean that they did a bad job. It's just sometimes that the community is very early. So that could be one of the things that kills a community. If a person leaves and the community dies, then it happens a lot. And
But you could also say that it's a learning, and then you can like start again and try to
yeah,
create it again, but with the awareness that one, it's about like sharing, like the
yeah,
spotlight. uh, that would be one learning for people, right? Like,
yeah,
okay.
of course. Yeah. So and as I said before, this there's not a bachelor in community. There's not studies in community. So um, this is from my observations, going into many communities, but I don't think there's a book that has this written down, right? It's just um, yeah, going around and feeling. Um, that's yeah. So to go back to your question, um, So for a community to be alive, the members have to show up. Then there should be some sharing. There should be some, um, yeah, just people should feel a sense of belonging. I would say that's what a community is.
So when we see, let me call it like being active, when we see activity, when we see like a
Yeah.
pulse of like moving and moving by itself, I would say like that would be like a relevant thing for the measurement, right? Like if we're trying to evaluate if a community is working, yes or no, it's one, it needs to be like the pulse needs to be stable by itself.
Mhm.
And the other thing that you mentioned, you were saying like there are no books and there's no bachelors, and I'm like, Eva, I see a business opportunity here. Like we need to start writing about this, like the 10 things you need to be aware of when it comes to community, and you're gonna be like a keynote speaker of this. I see the future.
That could be very very interesting. But one of the other things is that as soon as you are start being very analytical about these things and writing them down, then people are going to stop believing in me. They're going to think they're numbers
I get
in a
you.
spreadsheet,
I
right?
get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also like really complex how to, because you were just saying like, oh, you know it. It's common sense, and at the end, it's like you become like a social scientist, understanding the behavior that you see around, and you are trying to predict a bit more of like the how this will evolve and
Yeah.
unfold. So I do think it's super interesting, and it's here. I think it's where like this AI magic ball, it's really complex to fit it in, right? Like, of course, it can help
Yeah.
to optimize work, but community, it's a human thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. um yeah, the last thing that you want to do is make your community members feel like a KPI or like a number or anything like that. So it's not, yeah, that's, and maybe that's why there aren't many people talking about the or the
Yeah, exactly.
the business strategy around
Yeah,
community. Yeah.
of course, that makes sense. It can kind of like goes against the nature of the topic itself. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you don't want
that's
to
true.
become that, like one more report on how many active people we have. It's about how are people being active, what's relevant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So we were discussing about how to know something is alive, like there's potential in terms of community. Now when it comes to maintenance, what's it needs to, like, what does it take to maintain a community?
Yeah. So again, I think you have to be very aware of where your community is at. If is it early stages? Is it a mature community? Um, so it depends. For example, if it's just getting started, then you want to build the foundations. You want to have very strong people in that community that can lift it up. So um, yeah, that would be the number one thing. And then for a community that is mature, then it's a whole world. You check it out, you see what the community is missing, what the strengths are, the weaknesses. And sometimes it's just everything's going well, and you just have to observe and take a step aside and make more people,
Let it
uh,
live.
yeah, just let it live. That's it.
It's really interesting, but I do think that it's also like kind of like parenting, right?
That's true. I think so. I think so. That's exactly the right analogy, because you can raise your kids in the best way that you know possible, and in the end they're going to do whatever they want, right?
So it's the same.
Yeah,
Okay, then one more
exactly.
analogy. I love it. Um, I was going to ask you one of the things. Well, I was like, I was reading, and I was like trying to figure a bit more about like the topic, and this term of, oh, let me see, what was the name of the term? Um, Interpersonal risk. it was like popping a lot. And at the end, this interpersonal risk is, do you, should I say what it is?
Yeah, yeah, please.
What I found and what I understood, it's like the definition of like knowing that you're gonna be vulnerable in a social aspect, but still being willing to be that in front of people to create connection.
Mhm.
That means that the responsibility of people in charge of communities creating safe spaces. um I would say like that's key, but like how do you see it? And again, tech world being a really good example on how to learn from this concept of community, but also it's a lot, there are a lot of guys, of course, and then I've been working with developers my entire life, and there were so many meetings when they were all quiet and I was just talking and talking and talking. So um you have to also like understand your target audience and so on.
Yeah.
What's your experience with this interpersonal risk when it comes to communities?
Yeah, I think that's a very important topic that is not talked enough about. Um, and I think that's where empathy comes in. You come and see. So let me give you an example. Last week we had uh, an offsite summit where we invited the key members of the Docker community to come to one space. And there was one guy that I respect a lot. He's very good. He's very technically good. He manages our Docker forums and he's extremely active online. Then I met him in person, and it was obvious to me that he's very introverted. So online, he talks a
Oh,
lot and he speaks and so on. Then the second I met him, I saw that he probably needs a little bit of help interacting with people.
oh,
So, and I was the only person that he knew in this group of 60 people going around,
it's a big forum.
drinking. Yes, yes, it was a big deal. And for many people, they were also new. They didn't know anyone. And you just come to a group and strike conversation, right? You just, hey, I'm new. Hello. Some people cannot it's not as easy for them to just come and speak to people. So I used to be I feel like I'm in some spaces I am still like this. I'm very introverted in many spaces. So I just treated him like I would like to be treated in such spaces. So I just told him, hey, come with me, just don't leave my side. And he was with me the whole night, just
Kind of like
you know,
shadowing, but like,
yeah,
of course.
shadowing. Yeah, exactly. And then another person came that he knows online, so I knew they had a good relationship online. And then I introduced them to each other in person, and then he could just talk, talk to him and make more friends and so on. So step by step, just knowing when somebody needs help, when somebody, saying hello to someone
Yeah,
could be nothing for one of us, right? We would just, it's not a big deal. For some people, it's a very big
yeah.
deal to come and put yourself out there and introduce yourself. Again, for example, giving a talk in front of people. I've done it multiple times. It's not a big deal. For some people it's a very big deal. It's their first talk, their first time speaking in English,
Yeah.
something like that. So you always have to be very aware of how much of a deal it is for a person putting themselves out there, and you have to appreciate and support them in any way that you know possible.
Oh,
So a little bit like that.
I find it like so nice because at the end, I would say that's what the world needs, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
it's true. um Yeah, in general, trying to see where the person's coming from. Of course, you have the opposite end of the spectrum where someone is out there, very outgoing, and trying to be the spotlight everywhere. And you also have to know how to interact
Of
with
course.
such
Yeah.
people. um, Giving them the spotlight is great, and also maybe pairing them with someone who is not as outgoing. Then you feed off each other, you help each other. It's really nice. Once it works out, it's very nice.
So having a community at the end, it's a lot of like monitoring. It's a lot of like actively being an active listener of everything, of like not just like what's being like said or like written, but also the unseen things, or like
Yes.
the yeah, I would say. And then I have a question for you also, because of course like of Docker, it's like a global community. um,
Yeah.
how does like global communities interact when it comes to being multicultural?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing as well. um Again, I would say with a lot of empathy, with a lot of knowing that your own culture is one thing and you shouldn't impose it on
Yeah.
others. So, for example, you know, when I came to meet this group of people, we don't see each other very much. We don't. For some of them, I was meeting them for the first time. I always take their lead in how they want to say hello to me. So some people go in for a hug, for two kisses, for whatever it is. Of course, I lucked out because I'm Mexican, so kisses don't scare me.
Yeah.
We say hello to each other with a kiss, one kiss. Some people do two or three, and then I'm confused, but I'm happy. Um, there's some people who in which culturally is not okay for a man and a woman to even touch each other,
Okay.
not even like giving a handshake.
Oh.
um, and you have to be very aware of that. And what I do is just take their lead. If they say like hi, then I also say hi. Like, I don't go in for a
Oh
kiss.
wow.
That would be me imposing my culture into them. So and it can be very uncomfortable for some of them. So however they want to say hello, if they do like this, if they give you the
Wow.
hand, I just follow their lead because yeah, for me it's no problem to say like this. For them, it might be a problem if I go in for a
Of
kiss
course.
and they don't. Yeah.
It's so like it's really interesting that one of the keys, like the keys to have a, like a successful or like an alive community, are things like being selfish, or stop being, you are not the center of this, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
know that there are others, and you have to respect others. So you, I would say like you start surrendering, right? And not in a bad way. Like I would say, yeah, of course you can put like a negative connotation to the word, but at the end it's like I have no restriction. I don't want to impose myself. I just want to communicate and to connect with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And of course, we cannot know everything. Like, I might have messed it up in some in some ways,
Of course,
that I don't even
of
know.
course.
But you just keep your eyes open. You check how others interact, and then you just accept it and try to accommodate what their needs. So yeah.
Wow. Um, I have one more question. Well, I have two more, but like I have one. But I'm not sure if like there's something that you would like to add about. No.
No, no, that's okay.
Um, because I wanted to ask you about. Oh, let me see my note. The idea of this podcast is at the end trying to extrapolate and bring knowledge to the work environment, work related environment, right? That would be the ideal outcome of this. Now, sometimes, and I've been working in companies, and I usually I've been working in like these startup companies vibe, which is like we are all together, we have drinks and community, it's based on activities, and then we go drinking again. And
Yeah.
then but you start like getting older, or like you're like in the company, or age also, and then you community seems like, oh, one more activity, one more beer, one more.
Yeah.
um what's your experience on that? Do you think like that would be part of this life cycle of a community, that like, okay, we just need to reignite it again, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, um, yeah, the tech community can be a very bro-ish, I would say. Like, we have for many years. I also worked in companies where, you know, the fun events are going out and getting drunk with each other, right?
Hamburgers, pizzas.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people love that. I love it myself. I love going to karaoke and just going crazy, and the getting drunk. Of course, when it's my job, when I know I am in charge of the community, I pace myself. I shouldn't get drunk even
Yeah,
in front of my managers and everyone. But in general, I love it. But as I said, there's people who don't
yeah.
necessarily love it, and it might alienate them. So my advice would be to have all types of events, and also not make it mandatory to come to these events to advance professionally,
Okay.
right? Like, you have to be very good. It happens a lot, and it's just human nature that if your boss is your drinking buddy,
Ah, okay.
right, it's very likely that they favor you,
Yeah, yeah.
not because you're good at your job, but because you're
The
their drinking
wingman.
buddy, right?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That
of
makes
course.
sense.
Yeah. So as managers, or as people in an organization, you have to make sure that such biases are not interfering with your work. One thing is, going out and being social, and the next one is just making sure that the people who are doing the work get recognized, and you have to have a clear separation. But in reality, doesn't happen. It's just wishful thinking on my side, but that's my
But I
theory.
really like it, to be honest, because at the end, I think that's a really thin line when it comes to community at work, I would say. And forget even about like women, right? Like overall community, it becomes like, oh, it's a people that's always there. And it can be like a chicken and an egg, right? Like maybe people that are always there are also like good at what they do. I would say that it can be also no, like there is no like specific answer, but what you're making reference to is when it comes to work, make sure that there's a clear distinction between what are like the community needs and your
Yeah.
input on the community side, but that your performance is also something that's not attached to the other one.
Correct, correct. And there might be people that for one reason or another they cannot come to events, right? Like, they have children,
Yeah,
or internationally, for example, some people cannot drink. So,
yeah,
like, for example, in Islam,
yeah.
you you cannot drink, or you shouldn't drink, and many others, like Hinduism, many religions. And in tech, we have a lot of people internationally, and then you cannot just assume that a karaoke bar is their vibe.
Yeah, not everyone likes to sing Carol G as much as I want
Exactly.
to. I get you. Wow.
Yeah.
So one is like diversify, like and I would say that's also like really smart, right? Like create events that are what you start saying, like the tech community, it's active because we like to share and we like to learn. So when in at the beginning I was making reference to value, but this is value, like learning and sharing, because also like the sharing brings recognition, and that's also like something that you get, right? It's part of the value of what you're doing.
Yeah.
um so diversify activities, balance them, um like do not attach performance with community topics. um Another thing that I'm missing.
um yeah, I think that's that's it. What else could it be? Yeah, just have a lot of empathy for people. That's it, it basically boils down to that, to know where they're coming from, and try to be fair in whatever
Yeah.
their context is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that we, in a moment in time, as a group of people, we could like learn how to do that in a better way.
I agree. I agree. I think the world needs a lot of that.
Exactly.
I- yeah, but in the end, just knowing human nature, um, just if you're on the side of not a community manager, I'm trying to make things fair for many people. But if you are listening to this as a developer in a company, just being aware of the human biases that
Exactly.
might exist, you can use them to your favor too, right?
Of course, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, be smart.
yeah,
Be smart.
yeah.
Don't
Be
don't
smart.
exactly understand and use it.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
something like that.
correct.
Let me ask you one last thing, because at the end, what I'm trying to cover with the idea of, so not just the concept of community, but community at work, and now community and women. So I was
Mhm.
checking, and there are, of course, like some, like mostly in the United States, there are like some groups within the companies and like this corporate world. They have like these structures of like women communities. I have never been in any of them. In Latin America, I don't think we have them, and in Europe, I haven't seen them. But when it comes to women, and another thing is, I also, what I was reading is, in terms of work, if, because you are, your job, it's maintaining a community, but in another case, like people within their working environment, they will have, they would like to have a community, but that could feel like an extra piece of work, right? Because that's the job of someone. um do you have any idea on how maybe we can tackle this, so people don't feel that it's an extra amount of work that they have to do in order to keep a community alive at work? Or, and I'm thinking about women, because we women tend to carry even more. We say like, no, I can do it, I can do it.
Yeah,
um I'm not sure if you have any idea around it.
yeah. So I have the opinion that if you want to be part of a community, it should serve you. It should, of course, if you feel like doing a meeting with some people is just extra work, then maybe it doesn't serve you. Maybe it's extra work actually, and it's not serving anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I would say there is value in sharing all the time. For example, as minimal as telling your colleagues how much you earn, and sharing that information. Information is power,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you might find out that you're severely underpaid.
Yeah.
So you don't need a community for this. You just tell your colleague, "Hey,
Of
I'm
course.
making this amount," uh, and then uh, if if you feel like people in general in your workspace have the best interest for each other, then a community makes sense. A community, uh, you can learn from each other. Maybe, for example, we can be friends at work and you get a promotion. I can ask you, hey, I've been trying
How?
to, yeah, yeah. Can you, like, maybe I'm not seeing
Of
something,
course.
but I'm working just as hard as you. Why did you get a promotion and I haven't gotten? And then if you are nice enough to share, then we can form a community, then we can share and do all of this. If the community is not serving you, if in the end it's about people trying to show off
Yeah.
and not being really valuable, then I would say just step away and find other groups where you can build your own community. Like you can, after work, you can go and play some
Of
sports, or you
course.
can go into crafts classes and do something else, or find a tech community that is friendly. Many people in tech communities have a toxic workspace, but then
Oh.
they go in and go to their tech community and everybody's nice. So um, it's just finding whatever serves you.
Oh, wow. That's a super nice insight, because at the end it's something that we can use both ways. So one, I was discussing in another the other day with another girl that I interview, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't enjoy my job." So what she was saying, it's like, "Okay, I'm gonna look around." So what you're saying is, okay, if you have a shitty work, 9 to 5, then find a community, and then that can also like be something that once it serves you and you share, you might find a world there.
Yeah, yeah, no, and that I'm of that opinion. And in general, there's many shitty people. There's
Mm.
many shitty workspaces, and um, the reason is that I think it is this way is that people are unhappy, and they try to do bad stuff into other people, and then if you're part of the cycle, then you become also bitter, and you might as well do bad stuff to other people.
Fully.
So you just try to be around positive people, and then good things will come your way, I'm pretty sure.
So break the cycle. Break the
Yeah.
cycle of, yeah, toxicity. I fully agree. And for me there's also like one last remark, because I was just with a friend of mine, and we were discussing like about like bad managers, right? And what I told them, like, look, it's not that I am making a case out of like an excuse for all of these bad managers, but in a lot of cases managers are not trained. They're just people that either they've been there for too long, or they are good at their job, and then they think they can manage people. But the art of managing people, it's what you just mentioned. It's everything that it's about this topic. It's not about you, it's about the other. It's about being an active listener. It's about surrender your interest. So you first have to take in. So there are so many things, and of course, like we are not trained to do that. Companies, they don't invest a lot of money in training managers. That's why we have shitty jobs, because we have shitty managers.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and maybe some people, they don't even want to learn. They just want
True.
to they go into management because of the money
Yeah.
or the position, the title. So there's not they don't have this personality to
True.
nurture or to show people how to be the best version they can at their job.
Fully.
So yeah, not take it don't take it personally, I think.
Exactly.
Just find the spaces where
Yeah.
you can shine, and where you can give back as much as possible to people that deserve it. And if it's not your job, then that's okay. You can find other places.
I take two things from this last question, and I think communities, like the two concepts around communities, is serving and sharing, right? Like it's like this on this end and on this end, and whenever those are there, then community, it's not like an extra piece of work and not an extra invite for one random beer, but it's more about connection, and it goes deep in a deeper level.
I think I couldn't have said it better.
You just said it. I just like rephrased it, but it all came from you. What do you mean?
No, 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 you're great. You should be a community manager.
More than happy to do it. I would love to. I think that's at the end part of like the reason why I'm trying to do this. I get a lot of energy out of like getting to know people, and I love it makes you a better version whenever you start connecting with others.
Yeah,
But
I agree. It's very energizing. It's very good. I would recommend anyone who has interest to go this route. There's not many jobs, unfortunately,
yeah,
but everybody needs uh nice people around you,
yeah,
right?
true.
Yeah.
Eva, thank you so much for everything. I'm so pleased and happy. Like there are so many insights about community, and I will try to make a good recap and a super good use of this information, because I hope we can make more community between women.
Thank you, Fernanda. Thank you for inviting me, and I was really happy to share all of this. You're a great host.
So much. Well, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Wow, what a conversation with Eva. It was amazing. This project is making me so happy. So there were tons of different topics. let me try to see if we can do a nice recap of today's conversation. One, common sense and empathy are two crucial ingredients when it comes to the success of a community. Um, Eva mentioned empathy throughout the entire episode. Like, she described herself as someone empathic. Empathy is a special guest of the day. Also, like, remember, shitty managers lack of empathy. So empathy, it's also a crucial part of like this equation. Now, don't forget that a community needs to serve you in order for you not to see it as an extra work. So, serving is something that you need to take into account. And then, of course, sharing. Once you share, then you see the value of community. And don't forget about always thinking of community as an option. It can be like an extra thing, as Shada was mentioning the other day. So think about, just explore, find community out of something that you like and enjoy, and I think it's gonna be a nice thing. Um, and whenever you want to do community at work, uh, three learnings. One, do not attach performance of work with community output. Or like, if you are part of the community, it shouldn't be attached to the performance and how you get evaluated. The other thing is, think about the variety of events and don't make them something mandatory, because not everyone can join. Um, Community, it's really attached and anchor, I would say, to empathy. It's about surrendering. It's about not imposing yourself, and that's the key. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. Please share it with people around. Share it online. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye bye.